Hey guys, it's me Suja over here. Welcome back to another video. So, I just thought of talking about this topic, my advice to young Indians. So, as I'm wrapping up my stay out here in India, I'll be leaving very shortly somewhere else. I just thought of taking this time to give a valuable golden nugget advice to young Indians who would like to, have a very uh, practical view of life, right? So before I give you that advice, if you're new to my channel, the name of my channel is called Sujo in Vietnam. I've been living in Vietnam for over 7 years. I was an English teacher before for over 4.5 years in Vietnam, and then I started my online business, and I'm also a full-time YouTuber. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I highly recommend you hit the subscribe button, and that way you can support my content. There's a bit of construction work going out outside my house, but I'll try my best to cover up uh, this video with the valuable advice. So if you're a young Indian who is in his or her 20s, or maybe in his 30s or in her 30s, and if you're watching this video, so my bit of advice is I highly suggest, advise you to get a passport. Get a passport um, and start traveling around. Start traveling around the world. Um, Now, I'm not saying that you have to buy an expensive ticket and go to the U.S. or go to Europe. Um, there are other travel destinations which are not very expensive. Um, like you can go to Sri Lanka, or you can go to Nepal. Um, or if I were you, I would get my passport, my Indian passport, done, and I would, head off to Southeast Asia. So what I'm when I'm talking about Southeast Asia, I'm talking about countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, um, or you can go to Malaysia, Singapore. But if I were you, I would start. I would start with I would first go to Vietnam, and then I would go to Cambodia, and then I would go to Thailand, right? So this is just my personal experience. See, traveling, because I have a history of traveling to many countries. I have a history of traveling to many countries, especially in Southeast Asia. Um, and I was also in Europe. I was also in Europe for many years when I was young. I've even lived in the Philippines. I was there for 5 years. Um, so I could say that traveling really broadened my horizon, my mindset, right? Over time, I became a very practical person, because if you are, if you are living in India, chances are you would not be able to have that kind of a very open mindset. You will be you will be stuck in that umbrella, right? Under that umbrella. So yes, I mean, you can travel around India, that's all right, but if you really want to have a very practical view of life, have a very have a different view of life, then I highly recommend you need to travel outside India, right? So, because the reason why I'm saying this is when you explore these regions, like maybe Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, uh, you will see a lot of cultural shock, right? You will see how people live, right? You will have a very, very different view of life. You will be, and of course, traveling is fun. You can make a lot of international friends. You can make friends with the locals as you're traveling internationally. So that way you get to learn the new culture, you get to learn the new cuisine, uh, and your way of life, the way and your perception and how you perceive life would be very different. So after you do that, when you come back to India, trust me, you will have a very, very broader mindset. And that's actually very good for your career, for you to be a better human being. Because being stuck in India and inside that Indian mentality environment is not going to help you in the long run, especially if you go outside the country internationally. Like, say, like a lot of students, like Indian students, they head off to Canada, US, and they get a very big culture shock. Because chances are most of these students, they have not traveled anywhere else, right? Internationally. Um, so in order to avoid that, or in order to just kind of getting used to the international way of living, you need to travel outside the country. And I definitely encourage most young Indians, especially if you're finishing your college, your bachelor's, get a passport, start traveling internationally. You can go, like I said, you can go to Southeast Asian countries, certain Southeast Asian countries which are not very expensive, like Vietnam, or you can go to Cambodia, or you can go to Thailand. And I'm not saying that stay if you're going to Thailand, stay in Bangkok. Bangkok is a bit expensive, but you can go to Chiang Mai, you can go to other locations in Thailand which are cheaper to live. Stay there for a month or two. You will have a very different perception, different view about life, right? And it will definitely make you a better human being when it comes to having that practical view about life, right? So yeah, traveling, I highly recommend you should do that. Uh, you know, the wrong misconception over here is traveling is very expensive. That's wrong. It depends how you want to stay. I mean, if you're going to stay in the touristy locations, you're going to spend a lot of money. And of course, so if you're traveling internationally, like I initially did when I started my traveling exposure into Southeast Asia, I lived in a few hostels. They were reasonable. They were like, I think, $7 per night. But you can get cheaper hostels, right? So if you can stay in hostels, or you can share accommodation with your friends. But definitely try out. You should try out the local cuisines if you're traveling internationally. Uh, I'm not. I hate seeing like many Indian tourists when they go to Southeast Asia. They just want to go to Indian restaurants and just only eat Indian food, and they don't want to try out local cuisines. They don't want to try out Vietnamese food, Thai food. And I see a couple of these YouTubers complaining about being in Thailand and complaining local people are eating X, Y, and Z. I'm just going to be sticking with a cup noodle from 7-Eleven and hitchhiking around. Um, and that's stupid. I mean, I'm not saying that you should go and hitchhike around in when you're outside the country. What I'm trying to say is maybe you can book an accommodation which is very reasonable, or you can stay in a hostel, or you can share an accommodation with your friend with whom you'll be traveling from India. stay for a few weeks or stay for a month or two, experience life, see how people live, right? See how people live, see how the environment is. That'll make you a better human being, and that will change that Indian mentality mindset, right? It'll make you a very open-minded person, a very practical person, um, and that's going to help you in the long run. Because if you're going to be just staying in India, you're going to be under that bubble, and if you're just going to be staying with your parents in your comfort zone, you're not going to learn much in life, right? So I would highly recommend you get out of your comfort zone, get a passport, start traveling, and that will definitely change your perception about life, how you view life, right? And of course, you will meet a lot of interesting people along the way. You can make a lot of friends. You can learn from them. So if you're traveling somewhere internationally, you can meet other fellow international travelers. You can learn from them about their culture. You can network with them, and that's going to help you in the long run. So that's my only advice to all the young Indians out here in India. If you even if you're in your 20s, 30s, or you're finishing your college, I highly advise you to get a passport and then start traveling. Get out of that comfort zone, and then only you would be able to see the bigger picture. And you'll be able to broaden your mindset and have a very practical view about life. Right? Traveling is not always does not always mean that you have to shell out a lot of money. You can travel very affordably. You can live a very minimalistic lifestyle, as I do when I'm in Southeast Asia. Heck, I don't even have an iPhone. I don't even use expensive laptops. But as long as I know how to manage and budget myself when I'm outside the country, even if I'm in Southeast Asia like Vietnam, Thailand, or Cambodia, I'm just enjoying my life, right? And of course, I look forward traveling to new regions for the coming years. That will also help me to understand the culture more for different countries, make me a more knowledgeable person. Yeah, so I forgot to mention this. Traveling does make you a very knowledgeable person, right? Your and give you a very open mindset, right? So you let me know down in the comment section below. Have you traveled internationally outside the country, or have you been to Southeast Asia? How was your experience? Just a quick one I want to say is that I don't recommend Indian tourists traveling internationally and doing hitchhiking. I find that to be very cheap. Have a budget, stay if required, stay in a hostel, but don't start hitchhiking around internationally and complaining around. People in Thailand only eat XYZ. I can't even eat all these non-vegetarians. They eat insects, ants, or complain about, people in Vietnam eat this, complain about people in Cambodia are eating this. You got to adjust with the local environment. I'm not saying that you have to be a non-vegetarian, but of course you can get vegetarian food also in those countries. And some Indian travelers, some Indian YouTubers saying, "Oh, I don't want to eat this vegetarian dish. I feel there are some chicken pieces or some pork. I don't know," and start cribbing around, yapping around. So don't be that cheap Charlie. Um, and traveling is fun, and definitely it's going to help you a lot, right? So if you found this video to be if you like watching this video, make sure to like the video and all the good stuff. Sorry for the construction noise outside. It's still they're doing some road construction outside my home. If you found this video to be informational, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is down in the description below. Additionally, you can pick up a Sujoy Vietnam hoodie, or you can pick up a Sujoy Vietnam t-shirt. It's winter time, so you can pick up one of those hoodies, and that way you can support my content. So with that being said, you guys have a great day. This is me, Sujoy. Peace out.